Oh. Oh. Right. Okay. Just making sure that all you guys can hear and see me okay. I think everybody's okay. Just a reminder to put your videos and your sounds to mute and switch your videos off, because if you don't, then we get interference and it comes back and it switches between screens. So if everybody can make sure that their computers are and the video is off and the audio is off, that would be much appreciated. Thank you. So just one more minute before we get started. I'll just double check there's nobody still waiting in the waiting room. No, I think everybody's okay. Okay, excellent. So, welcome to Wednesday evening yoga. I hope we're all well. Had a nice week. The weather's certainly been kind to us. So, let's begin just by going over a few ground rules again, just to make sure that everybody realizes that it's your yoga practice and there should be no stress, no strain, there should be no pain. So if at any time there's a pose that's not it's too painful, too much for stretch, back off. And if it is still too much, then come into child's pose, rest in child's pose, and then when you're ready, you can join back into the class. So only ever come to your own edge, only ever come to wherever's comfortable for you, and it's perfectly fine to take a break, come into child's pose, and then join back in when you can. So let's begin by coming into a nice easy seat, sitting cross-legged on the floor. If cross-legged is not good for you, you can feel it in your knees, you can grab a block or a pillow and just underneath your hips, just to raise your hips off the ground so they're a little bit higher than the knees, and that should ease the strain. If it's still not comfortable, then come into an whatever easy seat feels good for you. And we're going to be here for a few minutes, just doing some gentle meditation, some breathing exercises, just to kind of balance us, take us into the practice. So beginning by gently closing your eyes, resting your hands on your lap or on your knees, wherever feels comfortable. And take a moment here to check in, finding your breath, noticing the breathing, and then trying to smooth that breath out. Taking nice long inhales, nice long slow exhales. Breathing nice and deeply, really filling up those lungs. Exhaling nice and slowly, completely emptying the lungs. Just giving yourself permission to forget about your day, leave behind all your worries and your cares, and just take this next hour just for you, to be calm, be centered, be mindful. Breathing in nice and deeply, exhaling nice and slowly. Really finding that nice, smooth breath. Taking your attention to your seat bones, feeling the connection to the earth through the seat bones, and through that connection, lifting up through that spine, sitting up nice and tall, feeling each vertebrae in the spine, feeling the space between each vertebrae, sitting up nice, long spine. Take the shoulders, gently roll them up, and then take the shoulder blades down the back. Letting go of any tension through the shoulders, creating space through the neck, taking the shoulders away from the ears. Breathing in nice and deeply, exhaling nice and slowly. Moving into a pranayama, counted breathing exercise. We'll begin by taking a nice deep inhale. A nice long exhale, completely emptying the lungs. And then inhaling, 2, 3, 4, hold. Exhaling, 2, 3, 4, hold. Inhaling, 2, 3, 4, hold. Exhaling, 2, 3, 4, hold. Inhaling, 2, 3, 4, hold. Exhaling, 2, 3, 4, hold. Inhaling, 2, 3, 4, 5, hold. Exhaling, 2, 3, 4, 5, hold. Inhaling, 2, 3, 4, 5, hold. Exhaling, 2, 3, 4, 5, hold. Inhaling, 2, 3, 4, hold. Exhaling, 2, 3, 4, hold. Inhaling, 2, 3, 4, hold. Exhaling, 2, 3, 4, hold. And then just letting go of that counted breath, returning to the normal deep inhale and long, slow exhale. Just taking a moment to monitor the breathing, noticing how smooth and calm the breath is, and also noticing how calm the mind is. Noticing that the breath is the bridge between the mind and the body. And if we can help calm the breath and smooth out the breath, we can help calm and smooth the fluctuations in the mind. Nice long inhale, nice long exhale. And then from here, gently blinking open your eyes, taking your awareness back into the room. Coming over onto all fours, so just taking yourself onto your hands and your knees. And then just roughly checking that your knees are about a forearm's distance apart and that your hands are about a forearm's distance from the knees, pushing up through the hands, coming into a neutral tabletop position. From here, breathing in, as you're breathing in, dropping the belly, lifting the tailbone and lifting the head, coming through our cow. And then as you exhale, coming through the cat, we're going to lift up the belly, drop the head and drop the tailbone, moving through the spine. Inhaling again, dropping the belly, lifting the head, lifting the tailbone. Exhaling, lifting up through the belly, dropping the head and dropping the tailbone, arching your back like an angry cat. And then inhaling, dropping that belly, lifting up the tailbone, lifting up the head. And then one more time, exhaling, lifting up through that belly, dropping the head, dropping the spine, really feeling that mobility through the spine. And then slowly coming back into a neutral tabletop position. From here, breathing in, taking that right arm all the way out in front of you, and then taking that left leg all the way behind you, stretching out to the front with the arm, stretching out to the back with that left leg. Take a nice deep inhale. And as you exhale, pulling that elbow into the knee and coming all the way in, arching through the spine. And then inhaling, reaching all the way out again with the arm and the leg. Exhaling, pulling that elbow to the knee. And then one more time, reaching all the way out with the arm and the leg. And exhaling, pulling everything into the center. And then release, taking that hand down and that foot down, knee down onto the mat. So we'll repeat on the other side. Breathing in and then reaching out with that left arm all the way to the front and that right leg all the way behind you. Take a nice deep inhale. And as you exhale, pulling that elbow in towards the knee and curling everything in. Inhaling, reaching all the way out. Exhaling, tucking everything in. And then inhaling, reaching that arm, that leg all the way out. Exhaling, taking that elbow to the knee. And then release, coming back into the neutral tabletop position. From here, tucking through the toes. And then taking the hips back over the heels, kind of pushing through the hands, lifting up through the hips, pushing yourself all the way back into a gentle downward facing dog. Keeping a bend through the knees, starting to walk and pedal your dog. Taking a range of movement through the toes, through the feet, through the ankles, coming up through the calves and the hamstrings, into the hips. Just taking some fluidity of movement through here, warming everything up, breathing in nice and deeply, exhaling nice and slowly, remembering to use the breath as a guide, helps support and guide us through our practice. And then from here, taking a bend through the knees, taking that left foot and stepping up behind that left hand, then taking that right foot and stepping up behind the right hand. Your hips should be roughly about a hip width distance apart. Taking a deep bend through the knees here, tucking in through the core, so lifting that navel in and up, coming forward into a forward fold here, nice gentle forward fold. And then clasping the opposite elbow with the hands, coming into our ragdoll pose. And from here, feeling the release through the neck and the shoulders, letting all the tension go. If you want, you can gently wave from side to side if that feels good for you. Or you can come forwards and backwards. Or you can just hang here in ragdoll. Again, just listening to your body, just checking in. Listening and feeling in for any tight spots. If you feel any tight spots or any tension, trying to breathe that tension away or take some gentle mobility through the joints. Opening up through the hamstrings, just warming ourselves up here. Encouraging the body to relax and release the tension. Nice long inhales, nice long exhales. And then slowly letting go of the arms, taking a deep bend through the knees, start to uncurl through the spine, slowly, slowly coming up through the spine, vertebrae by vertebrae, making sure there's no head rush on the way up, coming all the way back up to standing into our mountain pose. So from here, keeping a soft bend through the knees again, just gently start to swing your body from side to side, taking the arms round to the front and to the back. Again, just trying to let go of the tension, just relieving the tension through the upper body, through the hips. Breathing nice and deeply, exhaling nice and slowly. Encouraging the body to relax and let go. And then coming back to the center. And then from here, moving into some sun salutations, get nice and warm. Breathing in, as you're breathing in, reaching all the way up to the sky, sitting up nice and tall. If taking your arms up over your shoulders like this is not very comfortable, you can just take your arms through the midline of the body and take them up to this, reaching up to the sky that way. If you feel any discomfort in the shoulders, taking them wide and up. So it's your practice, you choose. There are always options. So inhaling, reaching up to the sky, and as you exhale, keeping a soft bend through the knees until we properly warm up. Coming into that forward fold on the exhale. Then on the inhale, taking the hands onto the shins, and now straightening out the legs and straightening out that back, coming into our L shape. And then exhaling, coming back down into that forward fold again, keeping that bend through the knees. Taking the hands just slightly in front of the feet, pushing down through the hands, taking a step back with one leg, then taking a step back with the other leg, and pushing yourself all the way back into your downward facing dog. Take a nice deep inhale, a nice long exhale, and then from here, dropping down onto the knees, and then slowly dropping down onto your belly, coming to lying down on your belly, face down on the mat. Take the hands out slightly wider than the mat, and come into what we call gecko hands or piano fingers. And then from here, just raising up ever so slightly, taking the chest off the floor. Start again, take a range of movements through the shoulders, through the upper back. Again, just gently warming everything up, mobilizing all the joints, knowing that we hold a lot of tension in our neck and our shoulders. So just encouraging the body to release that tension, moving through some fluid movements here. Just warming up the synovial fluid. And then Coming all the way down onto the mat, taking your hands just underneath your shoulders, engaging through that core, lifting, engaging that navel, pushing up and coming all the way back up into a tabletop position. And then from here again, curling through the toes, taking the hips over the heels and pushing those hips up to the sky, coming all the way back into our downward facing dog. Take a nice deep inhale, a nice long exhale. And then bending through the knees, start to twist, taking the hips over to the right and then taking the knees and taking them over to the left. And then inhaling, coming back to the center. And then as you exhale, twisting over, so taking the hips over to the left, the knees over to the right. And inhaling back to the center. Exhaling, hips to the right, knees to the left. Inhaling back to the center. And then coming over in the other direction, just warming everything up here again, engaging through those obliques, stretching through the sides, opening up through the shoulders, breathing nice and deeply, coming back to downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, you have two options. You can either just bend through the knees and step one foot up and step the other foot up and come into a forward fold if that's where you want to be tonight. Or if you want a little bit of an adventure, you can take a soft bend through the knees, bend through the elbows, and engaging through the core, lifting up that navel, lifting, engaging it, hopping halfway up your mat, coming to land with your feet roughly about hip-width distance apart, and come into a forward fold. So it's your yoga practice. You choose wherever feels good for you. Know that yoga is not a competitive sport. Only ever coming to your own edge. Only ever coming to wherever is comfortable for you. Breathing nice and deeply. And then inhaling, bending through the knees and curling through the spine. Reaching all the way up to the sky. Standing up nice and tall. Hands to your heart center. Samastitihi. Take a nice deep inhale. A nice long exhale. Well done. Moving through another sun salutation. A little bit of variety, a little bit of a variation here. So we'll walk and talk you through it. So breathing in, reaching all the way up to the sky. Exhaling, coming down into that forward fold. You can have a bend through the knees here. That's absolutely fine. Inhaling, coming halfway up, straight legs, straight back this time, coming into our L shape. Exhaling, coming back into that forward fold. Again, a soft bend through the knees is absolutely fine. From here, taking a step back with one leg and then taking a step back with the other leg, pushing yourself all the way back into a downward facing dog. Take a nice deep inhale in our dog. A nice deep exhale. And then from here, coming down onto the knees and then lowering yourself down onto your belly. And then taking the hands just underneath the shoulders, pushing up into our Bhujangasana, our Cobra pose. Take a nice deep inhale. And as you exhale, lifting up through the core, pushing yourself all the way back up into Cobra. Take a nice deep inhale. And as you exhale again, engaging that core, using that core to help support the back as you lower back down onto the mat. Pushing back up into our tabletop, taking the hips back over the heels, tucking the toes, and then pushing yourself all the way back up into a downward facing dog. Nice deep inhale. Nice long exhale. And then lifting up that right leg, taking all the way up to the sky, coming into our three-legged dog. Bending at that right knee, taking that right foot over towards, or having the intention of getting it to that left shoulder. And really opening up through that right hip, keeping that left foot grounded and keeping both hands grounded, equally grounded to the earth. Just opening up through that right hip. And then swiveling around, taking the leg back straight out, coming into a three-legged dog. Take a nice deep inhale. And as you exhale, pulling that right knee all the way into the chest, coming over into a high plank. And then inhaling, reaching that leg all the way back up to the sky.
Inhaling, coming over into a high plank, taking that right knee to that right elbow. Inhaling, reaching all the way up to the sky. Exhaling, coming all the way forward into a high plank, taking that knee to that left elbow, and then reaching all the way up to the sky with that right leg. And this time taking that right leg forward, hugging it into your chest, and then laying it down on the mat so that your right knee is just beside your right wrist, and your left foot. You can drop that left foot and just come down into our pigeon pose and just hold here wherever is comfortable for you. Feeling that opening up through that right hip, sitting up nice and tall. Nice long inhale, nice long exhale. And then from here, curling onto the toes of that back foot, lifting up that right leg and pushing yourself all the way back into a downward facing dog. Breathing in nice and deeply, exhaling nice and slowly. And then from here, moving on to the left side, inhaling, and then as you exhale, lifting that left leg all the way up to the sky into a three-legged dog on the left-hand side. Bending that left knee, and with the intention of taking that right foot towards, the left foot towards the right shoulder. And holding here and opening up through that left hip. Keeping equal weight through both hands, keeping that right foot grounded. And then inhaling, reaching all the way up to the sky into a three-legged dog. And then from here, on the exhale, coming all the way forward, taking that left knee in towards your chest, coming into a high plank. Inhaling, reaching up to the sky in a three-legged dog. Exhaling, coming all the way over that left knee to that left elbow. Inhaling, reaching all the way up to the sky into a three-legged dog. Coming into a high plank, left knee to right elbow. And then inhaling, reaching all the way back up into a three-legged dog. On the exhale, taking that left knee forward, taking that left knee just behind that left wrist. And then dropping that right foot, coming back to our pigeon on the left-hand side. Sitting up nice and tall, feeling that opening through that left hip. Nice long inhale, nice long exhale. Just breathing into the stretch. Only ever coming to your own edge, only ever coming to where it's comfortable for you. Remembering no stress, no strain at any point in yoga. And then breathing in, tucking that back toe, lifting up through the core, lifting up that left leg, and pulling yourself all the way back into a downward facing dog. Taking the feet together, taking the knees wide apart, and then sitting the hips back over the heels, coming back into our child's pose just for a breath. Stretching the arms all the way out in front of us. And then from here, just moving that right hand forward just an inch. And then moving that left hand forward just an inch. And feeling that traction through the spine. Feeling the lengthening through the spine. Feeling the release. Breathing nice and deeply. And then on the inhale, coming all the way back up into our neutral tabletop. So taking our legs and our feet parallel to one another. From here, tucking through the toes, taking the hips back over the heels, lifting up through the core, engaging that core to lift yourself all the way back up into a downward facing dog. Take a nice deep inhale, a nice long exhale. And then you can either step or you can hop halfway up your mat, landing your feet about a hip width distance apart, just to keep that lower back protected here, and coming down into that forward fold. And then on the inhale, lengthening out through the spine, feeling that nice long back. And this time as you exhale, keeping a soft bend through the knees, engaging through that core, lifting up through that core, and using that core to help lift you all the way back up into Tadasana, our mountain pose. Well done, everybody. Stepping up to the top of your mat again, taking the feet roughly about a hip width distance apart. Take a nice deep inhale, rolling the shoulders back.
Engaging through that core, just resetting our posture. And then breathing in, reaching all the way up to the sky. Exhaling, coming back down into that forward fold. Inhaling, taking the hands onto the shins, straightening out the legs, straightening out the back, coming into a nice long L shape. And then exhaling, coming all the way back down into that forward fold. Inhaling, taking a step back with one foot, and then taking a step back with the other foot. Then on the exhale, pushing yourself all the way back into a downward facing dog. Take a nice deep inhale. Nice long slow exhale. And then inhaling, reaching all the way up with that right leg, coming into a three-legged dog on the right-hand side. And then exhaling, pulling that right leg all the way into the knee, coming over into a high plank, and then positioning that right foot in between your hands at the front of the mat. From here, taking that back left foot and just putting the sole of that left foot down onto the mat. You may want to take it a little bit to the left, so you've got a little bit of a distance between the feet as we come into warrior one. Again, just if you've got any lower back issues, this will help prevent any soreness in the back. So from here, breathing in, engaging through the core, keeping a bend through that front knee, that back leg straight, reaching all the way up to the sky, coming into our warrior one pose. Thinking about having the chest facing the front of the mat, if you can, the hips, but no tweaking of the lower back, so only come wherever feels good for you. Breathing nice and deeply, exhaling nice and slowly. And then from here, as you inhale, taking the hands down into Anjali Mudra, prayer pose at your chest, slowly windmill round so that you're facing the side of the mat, coming into setting up for our warrior two pose. So a deep bend in that front knee, straight leg for the back. And then inhaling, taking the arms out to shoulder height, coming into our warrior two, taking a deep bend through that front knee. And then from here, inhaling, coming through a dynamic warrior, straightening out both legs, taking the arms all the way up to the sky. As you exhale, coming all the way forward into that warrior two. Inhaling, coming slightly out of the warrior. Exhaling, dropping back into warrior two. Inhaling, reaching up to the sky, straightening out the legs. Exhaling, coming all the way back into warrior two. Holding here for a breath. And then from here, moving into our reverse warrior. So breathing in, taking that left arm down that left leg and reaching that right arm all the way back behind you over your right ear. And then exhaling, coming forward, taking that right arm onto that right thigh, taking the left arm up over the left ear, coming into our extended side angle pose. And then inhaling, coming all the way back over into our reverse warrior. And exhaling, coming all the way back over into our extended side angle pose. And then one more time into our reverse warrior, breathing in, reaching all the way back. Exhaling, coming all the way forward, holding in our Parsvakonasana, extended side angle. And then inhaling, coming all the way back into warrior two. From here, taking your hands onto your waist and then picking up that back foot and coming onto the toes of the back foot and setting up for our warrior three. So for warrior three, really feel that you're putting all the weight into that front right foot and then starting to get your balance, starting to lift up that back leg, that left leg, and take that left leg behind you as you take your chest forward and coming into the warrior three pose. And then from here, we'll come into a flying warrior. So taking the arms all the way behind you, almost like you're about to take off. Nice deep inhale, nice long exhale, and then slowly release, dropping that back foot down, and then taking that front foot forward so that both feet are facing the side of your mat. And then from here, just taking some bends through a bend through each knee, just moving from side to side. So again, just looking for that fluidity, that mobility, staying nice and warm, staying nice and mobile and flexible. Encouraging all the muscles to release any tension, just moving gently from side to side. And then coming back into the center and taking your hands onto your waist. And from here, coming into a half forward fold, so that you're almost making an L shape again here. Take a nice deep inhale. And as you exhale, coming all the way forward into a forward fold, into Prasarita Padottanasana. You can have a soft bend through the knees. If straightening the legs is not comfortable for you, and only ever come forward as far as you can. Remembering it's not a competition, we're just holding here in the forward fold, feeling that lengthening through the hamstrings, trying to keep the shoulders away from the ears. Nice long spine. And then taking a soft bend through the knees, engaging through the core, taking a nice deep inhale. And as we exhale, coming all the way back up to standing. Well done. So from here, swiveling that left foot round, and then keeping that right foot, the sole of the foot on the ground. Again, you may want to take that right foot slightly out towards the edge of the mat, the right hand side of the mat, so you've got a little bit of a distance between the feet. And then coming forward, taking a lunge through that front leg, reaching both arms up to the sky, coming into our warrior one. Breathing in nice and deeply, exhaling nice and slowly. If you have any lower back issues, it really helps to take that leg out just that little bit to release any tension, any impingement through the sacral joints. And then from here, taking the hands to the heart center and swiveling yourself around so that your hands are at your chest, taking your feet and just lining them up, coming into our warrior two. And then inhaling, taking the arms out to the side, coming into a nice deep lunge in that front leg. And then inhaling, reaching all the way up with the arms, straightening out the legs. Exhaling, falling back into warrior two. Inhaling, reaching all the way up. Exhaling, coming into warrior two. Inhaling, reaching all the way up. Exhaling, folding into warrior two and holding here. And then inhaling, coming into our reverse warrior on this side, taking that left arm up over our left ear. Exhaling, taking that left arm onto the thigh, reaching that right arm all the way up, coming into our extended side angle. Inhaling, coming all the way back into our reverse warrior. Exhaling, coming all the way forward into Parsvakonasana. Inhaling, reaching all the way back into reverse warrior. Exhaling, coming all the way forward into Parsvakonasana. Breathing in nice and deeply, exhaling nice and slowly, and then gently coming all the way back up into warrior two, taking your hands onto your hips, lifting up that back leg, and then coming forward, setting up for warrior three on this side. So putting all the weight down through that left leg, starting to lift that right leg up behind you, trying to square off the hips to the mat as much as you can. And then holding here in warrior three. And then if you want to fly in your warrior three, almost like you're about to take off, breathing nice and deeply, exhaling nice and slowly, finding your balance, knowing that some days the balance is better than others. Just acknowledge it, accept it, and then let it go. And then slowly release, taking that right foot back down to the mat. And then taking the feet parallel again to the sides of the mat. And this time coming a little bit deeper into the lunge, just moving from side to side, maybe moving through the shoulders. Again, just keeping some mobility, some flexibility, opening up through the hips, breathing nice and deeply. Exhaling nice and slowly, and then coming over to that left side, keeping a deep bend through that left leg, straightening out that right leg, and then from here moving that right foot over, so the toes of the right foot pointing up to the sky, coming into our Skandasana pose. Nice long inhale, nice long exhale, really feeling the opening up through the inner thighs. And then from here, releasing, and then walking yourself over to the right hand side. And then from here, lifting up those left toes, reaching them up to the sky. Breathing nice and deeply, exhaling nice and slowly. And then release, taking that foot back down to the mat.
Swiveling yourself around so that you're over the right leg and over the right foot, coming onto the toes of that back left foot, lifting up that right foot, pulling it into your chest, and then stepping yourself all the way back into a downward facing dog. Take a nice deep inhale, a nice long exhale. And then from here, taking the toes together, taking the knees apart, nice wide knees, sitting back and the heels, nice wide knees to give yourself room for your torso to just gently rest between your thighs. Coming into our child's pose here, opening up through the back, opening up through the shoulders, from the release through the hips, breathing nice and deeply, exhaling nice and slowly. And then from here, picking your hands up, starting to walk those hands all the way over to the right hand side. And then feeling that opening up through the left. So you've walked everything over to the right, leaving the hips where they are, just taking the arms over to that right side. You should feel the opening up through the left side of the body. Really feeling yourself breathing into that left lung, breathing nice and deeply. And then gently taking the hands all the way back to the center, repeating on the other side, moving the hands over to the left. And this time feeling the opening up through the right side of the body. Feeling that stretch through the right side, feeling that opening up through that right lung. Really breathing in and inflating that right lung. And then gently take the hands back to the center. And then from here, come back into the neutral tabletop position. So taking the legs parallel to one another, the feet parallel to one another. Keeping the hips and legs where they are, starting to walk the hands slowly out into our Anahastasana, our puppy pose. So just walking the hands all the way out in front of you, keeping the hips and then taking the tailbone, reaching the tailbone up to the sky, and coming forward and taking your forehead onto the mat, or your nose or your chin, or if you're super duper flexible through the thoracic spine, you may be able to get your chest onto the floor. And breathing here, nice and deeply. This is a really good stretch for opening up through the shoulders, opening up through the upper back. It's a really good counter stretch for all the screen time we have. Hunched over laptops, mobile phones. So just breathe into the pose, feeling the release. And then from here, coming forward, dropping the belly onto the mat. And then taking your, I'll just shuffle back a bit so you can see what I'm doing. Taking the arms all the way out in front of you and taking the legs all the way behind you, feeling that stretch and that lengthening through the body. So take a nice deep inhale, and as you exhale, lifting up through the core and lifting up through the core. As you lift up through the core, lifting up that right arm and lifting up that left leg. Take a nice deep inhale. And as you exhale, engaging through that core, slowly lowering that leg down and lowering that arm back down onto the mat. Take a nice deep inhale. And again, as you exhale, think about engaging through that core, lifting up through that core to help lift up the leg and lift up the opposite arm. So left leg up, left arm up, left arm up, right leg up. And then lower back down. Get my lefts and rights. So if you want to, you can continue lifting the opposite leg and the opposite arm. If you want a bit more of a challenge, you can come into our half bow pose. So from here, just bend at the left knee, and then leaving the left arm where it is, taking that right arm behind you and clasping that left ankle. And then take a nice deep inhale. And as you exhale, engaging through the core and just lifting up through the leg, lifting up through the chest, coming into our half bow. If this isn't for you, you can carry on just lifting one arm and one leg, opposite arm, opposite leg, breathing through the lifts. And then exhale, gently lowering back down onto the mat. And then coming over onto the other side, bending that right leg, and then taking that left arm all the way behind you and clasping that right ankle, leaving the right arm on the mat, and then again inhaling and just coming up, opening up through the back, breathing nice and deeply, exhaling nice and slowly, and then releasing, coming all the way back down onto the mat. From here, taking your left hand, just placing it underneath your forehead, your right hand on top of your left, and then resting your forehead on top of the folded hands, coming into Makrasana or crocodile pose. Feeling the opening up through the shoulders, feeling the release through the neck. Breathing nice and deeply, exhaling nice and slowly. Taking your hands underneath your shoulders, pushing yourself up into a neutral tabletop position. And then from here, taking that right leg and crossing that right leg over in front of your left leg. And then using that cross-legged position, just sit back onto your hips, coming all the way up to seated, and then uncrossing your legs and taking them all the way out in front of you. From here, gently rocking back onto your back. And then taking your knees up just above your hips, taking your hands behind your knees. Take a nice deep inhale. And as you exhale, engaging through that core, lifting through that core, and using that core to help lift you as you come all the way up and sit up into a half boat pose and hold here. Breathing in and exhaling. Breathing in again. And as you exhale again, engaging through that core, slowly lowering, coming all the way back down to lying on the mat. Take a nice deep inhale. Again, as you exhale, engaging through that core, using that core to help lift you all the way up, coming into our half boats, holding here. And you can stay holding here for a few breaths, or you can come into the full expression of the boat, taking the arms and the legs all the way out straight, dropping the shoulders away from the ears. And then release, taking the hands back behind the heels, breathing in, and then as you exhale, engaging through the core as you slowly rock all the way back down to lying on your mat. So we'll repeat one more time. Take a nice deep inhale. As you exhale again, and lifting, engaging that navel and using that to help lift and pull you up into your half boats. Holding in your half boat if that's where you want to stay tonight. Or you can come up into the full boat, taking the arms and the legs up. Breathing nice and deeply, exhaling nice and slowly. And then taking the hands back behind the knees, bending the knees. Take a nice deep inhale and engaging through the core, gently lowering all the way back down to lying on your mat. And then taking the feet and dropping them down and leaving your feet roughly about a hip width distance apart. Moving into our bridge breathing. So from here, taking the hands just gently outside the hips, relaxing the shoulders into the earth, relaxing the hips into the earth. As you're breathing in, you're going to inhale and lift the hips up. And as you lift the hips up, coming in through the bridge, lifting the arms up and taking the arms up over your head and landing the hands back onto the earth. As you exhale, slowly lowering the arms and then lowering the hips all the way back down onto your mat. So in your own time, just breathing in and exhaling, matching the movement with the breath. So as you inhale, taking the hips up, taking the arms back over the head. As you exhale, lowering the hips and lowering the arms back down onto the mat. So this becomes a form of moving meditation where you're actually focusing on matching the movement with the breath, trying to slow down the breath and slow down the movement so you feel each vertebrae moving as you move through the gentle bridge. Noticing the breathing, really slowing down that breath, matching the breath with the movement. And exhaling, coming all the way back to the center. Well done.
And then from here, taking one knee into the chest and then taking the other knee into the chest and giving yourself a nice big hug here. And then lowering that left leg down onto the mat, keeping a hold of that right knee. And then taking hold of that right knee with the left hand, taking that right arm out to the side and keeping a soft bend through that right elbow. Taking that left hip over, that left knee over towards, I'll start again. Take that right knee over to the left hand side. And coming through a twist here. So that right knee's coming over to the left, but that right arm and that right shoulder are grounded down onto the earth. Feeling that twist through the torso, feeling that stretch through that right hip. Feeling the opening up through the shoulders. If you want to, you can just gently turn your head and look over to the right side of your mat. But if there's any tension in the neck, then just keep looking up to the sky. Breathing in nice and deeply, exhaling nice and slowly, really feeling that twist and that opening. And then inhaling, coming back to the center, taking that left knee, pulling it into your chest, giving yourself a nice hug here. And then slowly lowering that right leg, taking all the way down flat on the mat. Taking hold of that left leg with that right hand, start to pull that left leg over towards the right hand side, taking that left arm and keeping a bend through that left arm, encouraging that left shoulder to stay grounded to the mat. Again, feeling that opening up, trying to keep both shoulders touching the mat. That knee doesn't have to touch the floor. All you need to do is feel the twist through the torso and feel the opening up through the shoulder, feel the opening up through the hip. Again, you can take your gaze over to the left, but if that doesn't feel good for you, just look up to the ceiling. That's absolutely fine too. Listening to your body, checking in. Yoga is very much about how it feels, not how it looks. Learning to listen to your body. And then slowly release, taking both knees, giving yourself a nice big hug here, pulling the knees into the chest. Crossing at the ankles and just gently rocking all the way back up to seated, sitting up nice and tall. Coming around, I'll come this way so you guys can see me. Taking the legs out into a straddle position. Flexing the feet, taking the toes in towards the torso. Again, sitting up nice and tall, feeling that lengthening through the spine, feeling the seat bones grounding down into the earth. And then from here, just coming forward wherever you can, and then start to walk to one leg, and come over that leg, and then gently walk all the way over and round, coming over to the other leg. Again, just coming through a gentle range of motion here, just warming everything up, keeping everything nice and fluid and mobile. So just come from one side to the other side, breathing as you sway from one leg and gently swaying around to the other leg. And this time coming over to the right and swaying over to that right leg. And then breathing in, pulling up through that core, engaging that navel, that Uddiyana Bandha. Just gently folding over that right leg, only ever coming to your own edge. So if you're here, that's absolutely fine. Stay here. Don't stretch too much. No pain through the hamstring. If it is painful, you can take a slight bend through the knee or come up a little bit further, but try and keep a nice straight flat back and only ever come to your own edge and gently fold over that leg and just hold for a breath or two. And then exhale and gently move over to the left leg. And then from the left leg again, just feeling that stretch and feel that opening up. And coming forward into a fold over that left leg. Keeping the shoulders away from the ears. Only ever coming to your own edge. Only ever coming to wherever you feel that gentle stretch. There should be no pain. No tension, no stress.
trying to melt into the posture. And then slowly coming forward, and coming forward and just gently coming forward and holding in between your legs into a forward fold. Breathing in nice and deeply, exhaling nice and slowly. Keeping those feet flexed, pulling those toes towards you. And then release, coming all the way back up to the center, sitting up nice and tall. Take a soft bend through the knees and then picking those legs up, taking them gently together. Taking the soles of the feet together here and letting those knees and those hips just open up. Taking some weight back into your palms and just sitting back and just letting everything open up here. Feeling the knees opening up to the sides. Feeling the soles of feet gently opening, but keeping the outer edges of the feet together. But feel like the soles of the feet are gently opening. The knees are falling out to the side. Not forcing anything here, just letting gravity have it take effect. And then taking the hands just slightly back in towards the hips, lifting up the hips and moving the hips towards the heels. And then again, just sitting back, letting gravity open up through the thighs, open up through the knees, opening up through the feet. Breathing nice and deeply, exhaling nice and slowly, just feeling that gentle stretch, that gentle opening, not forcing the stretch, just letting your body come to its own edge. And if you want to, you can come and sit up and gently clasp the feet, clasp around the tops of the feet, and you can, as though you're opening the pages of the book, encouraging those feet to open. But again, not pushing down on the thighs, just breathing into the stretch and feeling the opening up. Well done. And then from here, I'll swing around this way, keeping those feet together, maybe taking the hips back further and coming into our supine Baddha Konasana. So just gently rolling back onto your back, keeping those feet together, keeping those knees falling out to the sides of your mat, and gently placing one hand on over your belly and just taking the other hand and placing it over your heart center on your chest and closing your eyes here. And bringing our focus back to our breath and our awareness back to our breathing. And breathing in nice and deeply, and as you're breathing in nice and deeply, feeling those lungs expanding, and as the lungs expand, that hand on the chest gently rises. Those lungs expanding pushes the diaphragm down into the belly and raising up the belly. You can feel your hand lifting on the belly. As you exhale, pulling that navel in and up, encouraging that diaphragm to move back up through the chest, squeezing the lungs and expelling the air. And again, breathing in nice and deeply, really filling up those lungs. Feeling that diaphragm pushing down into the belly, filling up the belly with air. And as you exhale, engaging through that core, lifting, engaging that navel, expelling the air through the lungs. And then one more time, nice big inhale through the lungs, really feeling that hand lifting up, feeling the other hand on your belly lifting up as that belly fills with air. And then exhaling, pushing through the core, lifting, engaging through that core, encouraging the diaphragm to move back up to the chest, expelling the air from the lungs. And then from here, moving into our Shavasana, so letting the hands flop out to the sides. You can leave your legs here if that feels comfortable, but if it's not, you can just gently take your legs out to the side and let your legs flop out to the sides. Lying on your back, if lying your back's not comfy, then come onto your belly or come onto your sides. But wherever you are, try to let the tension go from the body. Try to let the shoulders melt into the mat, letting the hips melt into the mat.
Feeling the connection to the earth through the backs of your hands, the soles, the heels of your feet, the backs of your calves, the back of your scalp, back of your head. Just feel wherever you're touching the mats, how Mother Earth supports, and letting Mother Earth take away all that tension, just feeling your body relaxing into the ground. Letting go of any control over the breath, just letting the breath come back to its normal pattern, its normal sequence. Noticing how the breath begins to shallow. Giving yourself permission to let go of any thoughts. Giving yourself permission to just take these next few minutes for you to relax. Imagining a bright blue star landing on the middle of your forehead, just where your third eye is. And as that blue star taps your forehead, it reminds you to let go of all thoughts. That blue star then moves down to your right shoulder and taps your right shoulder. And as it taps your right shoulder, you can feel that shoulder just melting into the mat. It taps your right elbow, your right wrist, your right thumb, your right index finger, your right middle finger, your right ring finger, and then your right pinky finger, before it comes to gently rest in the palm of your right hand, encouraging you to let go of all tension from that right arm. That blue star then moves and lands on your left shoulder and taps your left shoulder, your left elbow, your left wrist, your left thumb, your left index finger, left middle finger, left ring finger, and left pinky finger, and then comes to rest in the palm of your left hand. Again, encouraging you, reminding you to let go of all tension from that left arm. That blue star then comes to land in the center of your chest, just over your heart chakra, rebalancing that heart chakra. And then touches your navel, and then comes to rest on your right hip, your right knee, your right ankle, your right big toe, and then gently touches each of the remaining toes on your right foot. And all the tension releases from that right leg. Comes to rest on your left hip, your left knee, your left ankle, your left big toe, and then gently touches each of the remaining toes on that left foot. Again, letting all the tension go from that left leg. That blue star then travels all the way back up and lands again on this forehead, reminding you to let go of all thoughts, let go of all tension, and just relax into the mat. Now imagining a bright white light above your head. That bright white light's full of energy. And as you breathe in, that white light enters through the crown of your head and starts to make its way down your body, energizing each cell as it enters each cell in the body, bringing life and energy to each cell. It moves down through the spine, and then it branches off the spine along all the nerves, down your arm, down through your fingertips, coming down the torso, and branching off the spine down to the legs, all the way down through the hips, the thighs, the calves, coming all the way down into the feet and the toes, feeling your whole body energized by this bright white light. Breathing in nice and deeply, exhaling nice and slowly, and then taking the arms and reaching them up over your head, stretching the body, coming into a nice long body stretch, stretching the arms out, stretching the legs out nice and long. Then inhaling, taking the knees up towards your chest, giving yourself a nice big hug here. Maybe moving, rocking from side to side, taking a slow, gentle massage through the spine. And then rocking over onto your right hand side and holding the fetal position on your right hand side just for a moment. And then slowly pushing up, coming up into a seated position, coming into a nice easy seat. Sitting up nice and tall, gently resting the hands on the knees. Finishing with 3 big inhales and a nice long exhale with a nice big sigh. So breathing in nice and deeply and sighing it all out. Inhaling, breathing in nice and deeply. Exhaling, sighing it all out. And then one more time, nice deep inhale. Exhaling, sighing it all out. Well done, everybody. Taking your hands into an Anjali Mudra, prayer pose in the center of your chest. Thank you for sharing your practice with me. Namaste. If you have any questions, any feedback, any suggestions, anything you'd like me to incorporate in the next class, drop me an email. It's yogabalance@gmail.com, or I'm on Facebook if you want to message me. That would be great. Lovely to hear from you. But until the next class, namaste. Enjoy your evening.
Thank you, Angela.